to the Life and Listings podcast. I have Marcus Rush here. Hey, Marcus, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. I'm so excited to have you on. It's taken a while to get you on, but you're finally here. So for our listeners that do not know who you are yet, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
My name is Marcus Rush. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Like I said, it did take a while to get on, but excited to be here. I'm a real estate agent located in Delaware, but outside Delaware, we work Delaware, Maryland, and mostly the Philly area. I used to be a real estate broker, but now I'm a real estate agent team lead now because I recently took my brokerage over to Compass. Mm-hmm. So been an agent a little over 9 years now. So it's been excited and growing with the industry.
And we love your team. Does that feel weird, like saying like, I'm not the broker owner anymore and I shifted over to Compass?
It is sometimes, because sometimes I try to request things and do things as a broker. And they're like, oh yeah, get your broker. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's not me anymore. So I gotta go ask the broker, hey, can you do this for me? So,
yeah.
It is certain things like that.
Well, that's okay. I feel like I'm excited for the move you guys made. It was a good choice for you guys. So one of the topics we wanted to dive in today, and it's something I'm super passionate about too, so I'm excited to dive in, is like building your business as an actual business as a real estate agent. And it's something you're passionate about too. So share a little bit about what that means to you.
So building my business as a real estate agent, I'll take for two parts, as I guess the broker owner and as an agent. So obviously before I was a broker owner or now as team lead, I wanted to understand kind of the industry as a whole and what it meant to honestly be an agent, because a lot of times I've seen that all had friends, and we all maybe have family members that got their license, and I think the world's going to run to you and say, hey, sell me a house, and it doesn't work that way. So I learned that very quickly when I sat around for like 8 months and never had a sale. So from there I realized, okay, even though I was at a brokerage, I had to kind of take this on myself. So I had to kind of make this thing work if I wanted it to work. And real estate has such a high washout rate. I think that 92% of agents don't make it past year 2 to 5 or somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So, and I think the biggest misunderstanding with that, and the reason why that is because people don't understand they are in the business of themselves. They are a walking business, are a walking brand now. So I had to pretty much understand that very quickly, that this is what I'm doing. So in changing that, I had to, take my business on, step out of the shadows, because I came from a 9 to 5. So originally I was in a regular, obviously 9 to 5 job, as I said, and it was a big change in taking ownership of what I wanted to do. So I say that from an agent standpoint is you got to step out there and realize you are a business and take that on. Now, when you're growing as a brand, you are in a brand of yourself, but when you're growing within a brand as a brokerage, you do have the brokerage to kind of lean on, the brokerage to kind of help you out, but the brokerage doesn't do anything for you. And as I was the broker at one point in time and still a team lead, you kind of got to get agents to understand that as well, that it's a partnership. Yes, we're here to help you out, but a lot of this is going to fall on you as well to get the success that you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
So that was a learning curve for me to take the ownership on myself, be in control of myself, to actually now have to go and do it for other people as well. So
you've got these stepping stones, right? So you went from the 9 to 5, you're building your own brand. I mean, where did you start? What did you do to differentiate yourself to start as an individual agent?
So when I first started out, the biggest thing I wanted to do was get my name out. So I realized that no one knew who I was. Again, I was a part-time agent. So I think most agents that come in are part-time.
Yeah.
So I was a part-time agent. So I wanted to find a way to get my name out. And just like most agents, I started watching a bunch of YouTube videos. But luckily I had somewhat of a marketing background. So I took what I learned dialogue-wise and I guess the script-wise on YouTube.
Yeah.
And took that into a place where I could say, okay, how do I now put this into the brand of Marcus Rush? And I kind of got a little bit of trouble starting out because obviously this was before they had out of the team rules. I was like, all right, Marcus Rush is going to be the name. So before I ever had my team, it was Rush Realty. So I was putting out everywhere that Rush Realty was something. So even though I didn't have a brokerage, I was like, I'm going to make this name be something. So when people were calling our office phone line, they didn't realize they were not calling the brokerage. And again, team rules kind of came after that.
Okay.
So that was kind of my philosophy going out. I'm going to affiliate even though I wasn't with a big company like KW or Remax, I wanted to build more than the business of myself, more than just a Marcus Rush name.
Yeah. Okay. So you really focused on your name and you're like, that is going to be my brand. And that's what you went after was your singular name. And how quickly do you think that picked up?
Relatively quicker than I thought it would. So I would say by the end of 15th, but when he put this into play, this whole playing into action. 2016 is where I started gaining more traction. So I think by the end of 2016, I had already started my team.
Yeah.
I was really 1 year in starting the team. So by the end of 2016 is when I started seeing a lot more progression of what I was doing. So I did like 3 deals my first year. I did 12 my second year. And then ever since then, I probably did no less than 40, 50 deals a year.
So what made you start a team year one?
So this goes back to watching the industry. So back then, obviously there were teams. Teams been around forever. But again, I was always the person I would always look outside the industry too. So I would look at Apple was always a company I liked a lot. Tesla. I was always looking at other companies on what they did.
Yeah.
So I was just watching real estate and I would watch all the other brokerages. So even though I was at a boutique brokerage, I would watch what Remax was doing. I watched some of the big time agents, what they were doing. And I understood that, okay, teams is kind of where everything is going. Mm-hmm. So within there, I was like, okay, I'm only 1 year in. How can I start a team? Even though, I don't really have much sales, even though I read the Gary Keller book, Me and That Agent, I think it's called. That was about teams in there. So I was like, okay, this is what I want to do because I see this is where the industry's kind of going. So I mapped out a whole plan and I presented it to the first agent on my team. I tell you, I give them the whole plan. This is what I'm going to do this year, step by step. And you've seen the vision and you can't wait.
So you laid out, I love this, and I haven't heard this before, so I love this so much. You laid out the plan. Did you actually execute on that plan year after year, on that initial plan that you laid out for that agent?
I did execute on that plan.
I did.
That. So every milestone, I was like, see, I said we're going to do this. I said we're going to do that. So Google, I don't even know what Jim Dore is, or I'm not Jim Dore, John Dore and Google, they go by OKRs, right? So I'm big on OKRs. And so when I start my team out, I measure everything quarter to quarter. And so I would have each agent on my team do OKRs as well. And then we do every month, every quarter, we would see where we're at. So that's kind of how we do everything. So not only I left the whole plan what we're going to do over our milestones, but then we always set our OKRs, say if we're going in the right direction.
Amazing. And where did you get most of your business? Was it the brand?
No, believe it or not. So this is a question I get a lot. So of course I do have a degree, but I would say I use my degree. I don't really use my degree. The reason why I said I know a lot of big businessmen, but a very good businessmen, and they don't just have degrees. So some things I think you just kind of have in you. Mm-hmm. Like obviously you need to know business terms and things like that. Or somebody says what's a profit and loss statement and things like that. Right? You learn those things in school, but a lot of it I just kind of learned just being. I started at a young age. I was always interested in business. I was one of the kids that sold toys door to door, like my old used toys I wasn't going to sell anymore. Play with anymore.
Yeah.
So I was selling door to door. I'm like, hey, I got this old G.I. Joe. Want to buy it for $2? That was me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what just been something I did. Now I credit my dad too. My dad was a big dreamer. So if he had like something he was working on, he would take me along with him. I learned it. So that's how I got into business.
We are one and the same. I feel like I was like 4 years old, like knocking on people's doors, like, you want to buy lemonade? I'll scrub your driveway for $5. Yeah. Like whatever I could do to make a buck at like 4 or 5 years old. I was like always just trying to start a business. So funny. So you've grown the business to where it is now. What's next for you? Like what are your next quarterly goals?
So obviously we just came to Compass. So we're getting acclimated with everything that's going on within the Compass and obviously the industry changing that's happening right now. So the plan right now is to keep growing. So take the skills we have mixed with the opportunities that Compass provides and be able to, marry those two together and, to continue to grow the team and, just take over, I guess I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one of the things I think you're super passionate about is like supporting your agents that are at your brokerage and kind of like pushing them to build their own brand and build, their own business. How are you supporting the agents that work on your team?
Support, yes, I'm very big into support. So I know when I first got licensed, like I said before, it took me 8 months to get my first deal, right? I feel like I sat around for a long time doing nothing. And so for me, I never wanted the agent to feel like that if they were close to me. And that was one thing I'm very big on. So I've seen a lot of other agents, even if they have team leads, they're kind of like very secretive of their database. Don't touch my database or my name. For me, listen, if I got 10,000 names in my database, you got access to 10,000 people. It's okay with me. If I have a listing, you have a listing, market the listing. Because in the end, one, you're only going to learn by doing it.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn by just sitting around doing nothing and going around. I did watching YouTube. Now, you can learn anything on YouTube. I'm here for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure the agents, one, feel like they always know what to do every time. Every day they wake up, they should have something they know what to do. They're a brand new agent. Even if that's just learning something for that day, that's their thing to do for the day. But on top of that, also being supported I like to make things very easy. So I know, obviously working with your company, one of my philosophies has always been, I don't want the agent to have to do more than 2 steps. right, to do anything. And that's kind of where I've been. So I know on the back end, for me, I always had to kind of put processes in place that where it was complicated for me. I'm taking hours to do these things, but for everybody else, it seemed like it was so simple. And that's always kind of been one thing I'm very, very cognizant of and very much focused on. And I will go through the process of somebody else to figure out what it takes. So for example, we're making a transition to Compass and we're trying to figure out the business tracker. I was like, all right, let me go in here, see what the actual steps are.
Yeah.
Then once I see what the steps are, then I can be, all right, let's streamline this, do it this way, and work back and forth and be more collaborative on it.
Yeah.
But that's always kind of been my thing, figuring out what each person does, even in the industry, like figure out what a lender does, what is a home inspector looking for, what is a appraiser looking for. So if I kind of know what each person does, I can know how to work within that system.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, I think it's so important to understand that, like, you have your role, you're wearing your hat as the broker or the team leader, whatever, and you're setting up all these systems. But what does it look like to be an agent on the other side? Like, they're out driving around, they're trying to market the listing, they're trying to do the things. Is it reasonable what we just asked them to do? Or are we like giving them a huge headache? Like,
yes,
and more often than not, when we're switching brokerages or switching tech, it's a pain in the butt for the agents that work for us. We need to make it as simple as possible, as we can. Some things are not always that easy. And I think that's great. And I love that, like, you're giving to these agents too, because that is really common. I remember when I was first licensed, it's like, show up, 20 years old, I don't have any deals. No one's going to help me. And I'm not learning. I'm only learning by, like, showing up to trainings and stuff, but I'm not actually, like, hands-on learning how to, market a listing and stuff like that. So that's super great. Okay, we are going to pivot a little bit. Okay. We're going to ask you, what is your superpower?
So, yes, I've been asked this question several times as well, so I was ready for it.
Okay.
I would say my superpower is the ability to connect with people. So I've always grew up around a lot of people, traveled a lot. My dad was in the military, so I had to move different bases, different states frequently. So each place I went, each time I met somebody new, I figured there's always some way I can get to connect with that person. Whether it's just having a general conversation and they mention something that I'm like, oh, I know a little bit about that. So I can just talk more about it. So it's always kind of been one thing that's kind of stuck with me, the ability to connect and read people kind of quickly. So that's my superpower. So reading and connecting with people.
That is a great superpower to have, both as a team lead and as an agent, right? Because you're, like, actually understanding or able to connect with these people on what they need or want.
Right. That's the biggest part of our job as an agent. So a lot of people think that we're in the sales and you got to have these super boiler room type tactics and you got to have the perfect script and everything. So salesy, well, what I figured out, it's more important. People like to shop for their life, right? And that's always been a thing I tell people. Like, people like to shop for their life. So instead of trying to be super salesy on 123 Main Street when you're on the phone, figure out if they even like you. Right? Do they want to talk to you past this phone call? And that's the main thing I try to get my agents to understand. He was like, all right, if they like you, they're going to work with you. Yes, you need to have the knowledge. Yes, you have the skills. Yes, you need to say to guide that conversation. But the main thing they're focused on right now is, do I want to talk to this person again? And that's what I try to focus on.
And listen to them. Like, right? Like, instead of all the scripts and you're spewing stuff out, it's like, did you listen to what they said? That's a good, I think one of my favorite ones was like, someone was like, no, I don't do scripts or anything like that. I just listen to the conversation and I listen and see if there's, like, a dog in the background or a little kid, and I'll bring that up in conversation rather than just trying to do my most recent XYZ script I found on YouTube. So
very true. Great. So you got to list those keywords. People always give you something. And even the smallest way. So just listen to what they're saying, like you're saying, and you'll pick up something. And that could be your one way in right there.
100%. All right. This has been so great having you on the podcast. If anybody that's listening wants to reach out, learn more about Compass or you, or send you a referral, where's the best place for them to reach you at?
So the best place they can email me at will probably be my email at info at rushhome.com. I'll get that email, or they can come to our website at rushhome.com. Or if you want to contact me on Instagram, it's DE Realtor Rush. So
perfect.
I'll be at any of those.
Perfect. And I'll drop that all in the show notes as well. And thanks, Marcus, for hopping on and sharing everything about your business today. It was great seeing you.
All right. Same here. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.